In this video, we are going to look at the Prins variation of the Sicilian defense, and it starts after the move e4 c5, knight f3, d6, and here white goes d4. Now this is the open Sicilian. You take this pawn and white recaptures. Then you play knight f6, attacking this pawn. Here, the most common moves are knight to c3 and f3, and in this video, we are going to look at the move f3. Now generally, the most played move are knight c6 or e5 or e6. So let's look at them one by one. So before moving on to the variations, let me give you a brief idea about what is white going to do. White's idea is to play c4 and then knight c3 and try to control this square and develop his pieces slowly, or in some cases, white can castle on the queen side or even on the king side. So after knight c6, so white goes c4, you play e6, bishop e3, developing this bishop, you play bishop e7, preparing to castle. Then white develops the other knight, you castle here, and after queen to d2, you play d5, striking in the center. E takes d5, e takes d5, and here white goes rook to d1, reinforcing the center. You play knight to e5, he goes c takes d5, knight takes d5, white goes bishop a2. Then you are going to play bishop to h4 check, and after bishop f2, you can just take this bishop, and after king takes, you go knight takes c3, he goes queen takes c3, and as you can see, most of the pieces are being traded off since both sides have a symmetrical pawn structure, so the chances of ending of this game in a draw is quite high. Now let me show you the main line of the Prins variation. After e4 c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, we play knight f6, he goes f3, and here the main move is e5, attacking this knight. So knight to b3, then there are two responses in this position. First is the aggressive option d5, and there is also bishop e7 if you want to play passively. So if you want to play bishop e7, then after c4, a5, trying to attack this knight, white goes bishop e3, you go a4, attacking that knight, so knight 3 d2, then you go knight c6, developing your knight, he goes knight c3, then you play queen to a5, and after he goes a3, trying to prevent your knight from jumping forward, you can just castle in and then continue to play. But the main move here is d5, striking in the center right away. And here, the only move which saves white is bishop g5. Now, there are two main lines. First is d4, and then there is bishop e6 as well. So let's look at them one by one. If d4, then white goes c3, attacking the center right away. You play knight c6, he goes c takes d4, and here you are going to play an intermezzo bishop to b4 check. So he goes knight c3, and then you go e takes d4. And since your bishop is pinning this knight, and you are threatening to take this knight, so he goes e3, then you save your bishop, he goes knight to b5, backing this pawn back. You just castle here, and after knight 5 takes d4, and the main line goes as follows. Black plays knight takes e4, temporarily sacrificing his knight. Knight takes e6, then you go queen takes d1, exchanging the queens, rook takes d1, and then you just take this bishop. And here he can save his knight, but instead he goes f takes e4, and after b takes c6. This e pawn is a major weakness for white. Black can take advantage of this pawn by playing bishop b7 and bringing his rooks on the e file to target this pawn. And here there is also another move, which is bishop e6. And now the only move for white is bishop takes f6, taking this bishop with the queen is bad because the pawn will be hanging. So g takes f6 and then e takes d5. We play queen takes d5, queen takes d5, bishop takes d5, and after knight c3 attacking the bishop, you play bishop e6, white castle here, then you play knight to d7. E goes knight b5, threatening a 4th. You throw in a check with bishop h6, king b1, then you go king e7, preventing the threat. So if you go knight c7, you can just save your rook and the game goes on. And here, there's a common mistake in the prince variation that you need to avoid. Here, the most common move played by black in this position is a6, which is a big mistake because it allows white to play c4, and after you play e6, the white can develop all his pieces quickly. Say something after bishop e2, you play bishop e7, both side castle, and then after knight c3, knight c6, bishop e3. As you can see, white is able to achieve what he was hoping for. Therefore, playing a6 in this position early is quite bad. So this is a common mistake you need to avoid. Well, if you want to see some chess traps in the Sicilian Defense, then you can check out this left playlist. And if you want to see the previous video on the Sicilian Defense, then you can check out this right playlist. And if you don't want to miss more amazing videos like these, then don't forget to subscribe.